Hello everyone! I was asked recently how to do my note card method without having wall space, which is something that I have struggled with in the past as well. So I do actually have some answers for you, and some of the things that I love about this method is how versatile it is. Option A. You do have the option to string up some twine and pins and use clothespins the way that I have done it here, right? So you do have the option to do it this way, where you have a sort of murder wall, if you will. Not quite the same as a murder wall would actually be, but this is what inspired it, is all of those concept conspiracy boards where you follow the trails from one to the other. That was the initial goal with my method of doing it this way. The other inspiration that I've had for this was the BBC Sherlock version of his Mind Palace, and how he would look at the clues and be like, this one, not this one, and like throw them away if necessary. So that's why I have them in note card form. The other benefit of note card form is that you can pick them up and move them and rearrange the story as necessary. There's a video where I show how I do that process. By laying them all out on the floor, rearranging, I take all of the jumbled mess of a story and I rearrange it until it makes sense. But when it comes to storage or actual utility of using these things, the benefit of having them be like this is that I can easily take them off the wall to travel. So your options for travel or for normal storage include anything that I would do for travel, right? So some of my other books I have organized this way. The book that I have up on the wall is the one that I'm currently working on, but anything else that I've planned in this way, I literally just take them all, I put them in order, and then I put them with a binder clip. That way they store really, really easily. Or, they used to make these, I'm sure you can still find them somewhere. I've had this from when I was very, very young. Literally, this is my childhood writing from back in the days of elementary school when I had a number and was learning cursive. So it had to have been after 3rd grade. I don't know anything else. But this is a note card filing system. They used to use these to keep track of phone numbers or whatever. But again, I keep them all binder clipped and I put them in here. They have little dividers so I can keep them separated if necessary. Past books, future books, things that I was using before, like this one is labeled as book 3. Oh, you can't see that. There we go. This one is labeled as book 3. On and on. I don't know which book 3 this is. I've been working on this series for so long that might be a completely different book 3 than I remember it being, but it's the same concept, right? I've also done this if you cannot afford to go get note cards. You can just take notebook paper and cut them up into little pieces like I did here. All that to say, there are a lot of options for how you can store them with binder clips or otherwise. Another thing that I plan on doing with one of my other sets of note cards is using these. These are actually shower curtain hangers. I use them at school to store my clothing, my scarves, my tank tops, whatever. But you can just as easily poke a hole through the note cards, use a hole punch or whatever, string them all up on here, use them as a flip book because it closes, right? They also make binder clips designed to do this, where it's like the rings of a 3-ring binder, but it's for loose leaf papers without having the actual binder around it. So I was planning on using one of those. I have them somewhere. Anyway, you can get binder clips that work exactly like this, but it's a complete perfect circle, and then you can just flip through the things that you need or take them out as necessary, which is how you would rearrange them. It's not quite as easy as the sliding method that I have with these, but any way that you can store them that the note cards stay in order, and then as you reach, depending on which plot point you get to that you need, so with the binder clip, as you're getting to the next plot point, you just move it to the back and you're set to go. So you can't look at the whole thing as a whole this way like you would on the wall, but you can still quite easily see where you're going next. You can flip ahead, see what you're looking at, and go from there. Another thing that I've thought about doing with these is getting like a photo album. and sliding them all into the photo frames, because then you can flip through the book that way, because they would fit in the photo album, like photo holders. I haven't tried that yet, but that is also an option. You could use it as an actual flip book if you wanted to. But those are some things that you could look into for doing my note card method on either on a budget, you probably have these things lying around, or to save wall space for other things. Clearly, I also have a lot of nerdy things up on my wall. I do not really understand what it is to have empty wall space. I like having negative space. Not every inch is covered, but at the same time, my walls are covered with things. So if you want to do this method, but you don't want to have everything covered all the time, I hope these help give you some ideas on how you could do it. You can use binder clips, you can use binder rings, you could use string anyway, you can use a photo album. Get a little creative, even if you just did like plastic bags and then clipped them all together so you could flip through it that way pretty easily and it would still protect the cards. All of those are options, all of those work. Alternative I have used in the past, rather than using note cards, like I would do this when I was working at the library at school. I was a work study student, so I was able to do my homework while I was working usually, but if I ran out of homework and I was still working, then I found other ways to occupy my time unless there was somebody to help. And one of the things that I would do occasionally is plot entire novels while at work. In the process, I had to figure out a way to do this without paper and without cards in a way that I would still be able to access on my own personal computer. So I would use Google Sheets, still do exactly the same thing here. I would outline my novel using the 12 beats, which I just talked about in a previous video, and I would put each beat along the top of the sheet, and then in the cells underneath it, I would outline the entire series. I once, for an entire shift, outlined a 5-series TV show based off of the books that I'm currently writing. Because at first I was going to write these as a TV show, and now I'm writing them as books, because I know how to write books and I don't know how to write a TV show. But all that to say, I have done it where, in the same way that each cell in a sheet would be a note card, I like it because you can copy and paste and move things around just as easily as if you were doing it with the note cards. It's just not a physical representation of each plot point. The other thing that you can do there is cool colors and stuff without having to have multiple pens. It saves automatically, so all of that is organized for you, and then every time that you want to find it, you just pull up that Google Sheet and you can look at your outline. Another option that you can do is a whiteboard. So if you already have a whiteboard, or you don't have a whiteboard handy, but you do have a piece of white paper and a plastic sleeve, you can do this whole method with a whiteboard. It's just a little bit harder because you have to erase and rewrite, but it's possible. So if you want to do this method, those are some options for you if you don't have note cards available or you don't have the wall space for them. I hope that helps, and happy outlining. I'm so glad to hear that people are interested in this method and want to use it. So I hope this helps you get creative in ways to use it that also fit your space and the requirements that you have for your building that you live in. Until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.